The window object isn't just our global object. It's also the object that we use to interface with the physical window that has loaded our web page. With the window object, we can actually open up other windows, and we do that by using the open method. So here I am calling the open method. We are specifying a URL to go to, and we are going to google.com. We do have to specify the http:// by the way. We can't just do www.google.com. We have to provide the full URL here. This second parameter, which we are passing an empty string, or we could also pass null, this is the name of the window. This is what we would actually use if we were going to use the window as a target for hyperlinks within our page. And then we can specify some options for this new window. We are giving it a height of 300 and a width of 300, and each of these properties are separated with a comma. Now notice that this is all one string. These are not multiple arguments that we are passing to open. This is all one argument with each setting separated by a comma. So if we were going to run this within our browser, which we are going to do here, let's go to lesson 11 and let's run this code. It's going to open a new window for us. And while the dimensions doesn't quite look like 300 by 300, it's close enough. So this is a new window that we have opened with our code. Now, whenever we call the open method, let's go back to our code, we do two things. First, we open up a new window, and second, we assign the window object of the new window to whatever variable that we have here. Now, a lot of times we'll just see just plain open, and that's perfectly fine, but if we wanted to access that window object, we could do so with this variable here. Now, unfortunately, we cannot actually do that with this particular case because this window is loading a web page from a different domain. And part of JavaScript security says that we cannot interface with any page or window from a different domain or a different origin. Since this primary web page is of the origin of our local host, our machine, and Google is from another origin, these two windows cannot communicate with one another. So we can't really do anything with script with this window here. But if we add another web page to our project here, which I'm going to add HTML, let's just call this foo.htm, and let's just put some text in here to know that we have loaded this particular page. We'll just do hi, and let's change this to foo.htm. Since this is a relative URL, we don't have to specify HTTP or anything like that. We're going to set height 300, width 300, and let's modify this window too. Let's use the move to method, and we are going to move it to 300 by 300. Now this is using the coordinate system of the screen. It's divided into X and Y. X, of course, is horizontal and Y is vertical. Now at the very top of the screen, this top left is the origin. It is 0, 0. And as we go down, Y becomes positive. As we go across, X becomes positive. And how we call these positions, we call it top and left because we are so many pixels from the top and so many pixels from the left. So if we go back and look at these parameters from IntelliSense, this first is X. So we are positioning this window 300 pixels from the left. And then the second is Y. So we are positioning this window 300 pixels from the top. So whenever we run this code, we are going to open a window going to this foo.htm, and then we are going to move it to 300 by 300. So let's refresh the page again, and you can see that the window jumped there because it opened it and then it moved it. There's also a move by, which is somewhat similar, except that instead of moving to a specific set of coordinates, we actually move by a certain amount. So if we wanted to position our window at 400 by 400, we could just move by 100 by 100 to put us at 400, and we would see that do again. Now there's also a resize to, and if I could spell and type, that would actually be resize to, and we can specify 100 by 100. This will resize the window to these dimensions that we have here, and we can see that it did change size. And if we go back and do resize by, we will resize by 100 by 100, and that will grant us a larger window. And we can also use negative values if we wanted to shrink the window as well. So if we wanted to change it to 200 by 200, we could by specifying negative 100 in each of these parameters. So we have communication from the opening web page to the child window, which we have been demonstrating here, but we can also communicate from the opened window to the parent window as well. And we can do that by using the opener keyword, or the opener object. We need script, type, JavaScript, and we want opener. Let's also come back here. Let's create a variable called, let's call it foo because it's easy, and we'll do hello world, and then we'll go back to foo.htm. Let's actually alert opener.foo. Now opener is referring to the window object of the window that opened this window here. So it's actually going to refer to this window here, our main window, and it's going to access the foo variable. Now remember that foo is actually a property of window. So opener refers to that window object, and we'll be able to get the foo variable or property. So let's reload this. And we are getting allow blocked content. And here we are getting hello world because we are retrieving the foo variable from our opener window. So that's the basics. Let's do the try it section now. We don't need foo.htm, so we are going to get rid of that. And we also are going to get rid of this code. Now from now on, we are going to start putting our JavaScript code within our HTML document. So it's going to be inline code. This way we can see the HTML that we are dealing with along with the JavaScript code that's going to interface with that HTML. So we want to open up a new window, and then we want to write some data to that new window. So first we need to open a window. We're going to call this child window, and then we are going to call open, and let's just specify an empty string here. So we haven't really specified a URL, so it's just going to load the about blank, actually about blank. That's an actual URL that just about every browser supports. So now we need to write some data to this window. So we are going to use child window, which is actually the window object of this opened window. We are going to access the document object. This gets the HTML document. And then we want to use the write method. This is going to write HTML to our document. And we are going to use the text hello new window. And then we are going to add a breaking element, and then let's write something else. Let's write a question. How are you today? So we'll get rid of this. How are you today? So whenever we open this window, it's going to open, and then we are going to write this information to that window, and it will be displayed for us. So let's press F5 to refresh the page. Now notice that it is opening a new tab. This is different depending upon the browser. Chrome will actually open up a new window. In fact, if we go and open this in Chrome, we can see that it's opening a new window for us, and it is in fact writing information to us, but we are only seeing hello new window. We are not seeing how are you today. So let's go back to our code and let's see why that might be. Well, everything looks okay. Perhaps we need to do something specific for Chrome, If we do document close, that'll close the document, and theoretically that should make this work. So let's go back to Chrome. Let's refresh. There we go. We just needed to close the document. So, and once we close a document, if we try to write again, we actually overwrite everything that we have here. So in Chrome, we've opened up this new window that has the data that we wrote to the window, whereas in Internet Explorer, it just opened a new tab. Well, if we specified some of the settings here, let's do no name, and then if we specify a height of, say, 300, then it will open up in a new window for us, just like that. So we have opened a new window, and we have written data to it, and we can also use the other methods to manipulate this window if we wanted to, but for the purposes of this lesson, that is it. And so in lesson 12, we are going to kind of build on this and look at frames, because frames are a lot like windows.